I guess I should put my laptop down because, well, no, I'm using it.
I mean, if you're reading from it,
Yeah.
But I don't want you to be playing clips from Justified.
Yeah, you're right.
While we're trying to do the podcast. I know you love that show. That's fine. I see all the clips popping up on YouTube, but let's focus in on Diesel. Hello out there. My name is Zach.
And I'm Billy. And apparently I'm in the doghouse today.
We're just trying to stay focused. Let's keep it on Diesel talk as much as we can.
Justified was actually one of the best series ever produced.
Did they drive diesels in it? Pull your microphone in.
I don't know that they did, but they shot a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, we're not going to be doing that here today, folks. Sorry, but we are going to be shooting out replies to your comments.
There you go.
Yep, segueing that back in. We're back with another response video to some of our YouTube comments. We appreciate everyone commenting in the videos that we've done in the past. Obviously, we can't get to those comments all very quickly, but we do like to make these response videos just so we can give a more personal touch to the responses. So with that in mind, we're going to get right into them. The first comment we have today comes in from pt.3, and he says, I have a 1992 7.3 IDI diesel E350. I just changed glow plugs and made it manual switch. It starts just fine, -10, -15 degrees Celsius, but after I run around, even the engine is warm. After a couple of hours, it's not starting sometimes, even with the ether spray, though. After giving a boost a minute, it starts. Should it be injection pump related? Thanks in advance. I'm not sure if he was making a pun with the thanks in advance, but maybe it was unintentional.
Well, it could be.
So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, a couple of things, and let me toss out kind of a little bit of a disclaimer because he mentioned that he puts his glow plugs on a manual switch, and we've talked about that. We have a kit for that. But I do want to make sure whenever you guys are doing this out in the field, make sure that you use a push button type switch. I have run into instances where customers will put a toggle type switch, and there's going to be an occasion where that switch is going to get activated while you're running, or you're going to leave it on, and you will burn those glow plugs out.
Yeah,
and
they swell up, and then you can't pull them out.
Yeah, and you just have a miserable day trying to get those glow plugs out.
So go for the push button. That's first.
So getting to Mr. Tiftik's question, yes, it can be injection pump related. There's a couple of things that happen with these rotary style pumps. And when there's a head anomaly that will come out as the head and rotor wears, the head and rotor is what actually pumps the fuel to your injectors. It also can be a wear in your advance area where your advance is not going back into the starting position. Both of those would require the injection pump to be rebuilt. And that,
If you don't get it, then you're gonna get beat. It's your daughter. Ring, ring,
you know what? We're just going to keep going. I'm going to decline that. That is my daughter calling. And this is what happens when you do live TV, folks. So we're going to keep we're going to keep rolling.
Don't get heated. So you were saying about the advance on the pump.
And I'll lay you 10 to 1 odds she will call again before this call's over. But that's okay.
We know she's going to.
So let's get back to it. So if you want to test this, there's two ways to do it. And one's going to seem very simple, but it works. And that is get your truck to operating temperature and get it to where it won't start, where you're just hitting the starter and nothing's happening. Take you a glass of cold water and pour it onto the injection pump. You're not going to hurt anything. And if it starts immediately, yes, you have an injection pump problem.
So because that cools the temperature and allows
what it does
to
is
function.
the aluminum housing, as it heats, it expands and it allows fuel transference in the advance area. And when you subject that to cold, all of a sudden the metal shrinks up,
Right.
and it goes back, and then if it starts, you're pretty sure that it's just an injection pump issue. Now, if you say, I want a more technical test.
Yeah, test number 2.
Test number 2, on the side of the injection pump, not at the very top where the shutoff solenoid is, but on the side of the injection pump is what's called a cold start advance solenoid. And that is only supposed to be engaged when the engine is cold. But for testing purposes, you can get you a piece of wire with 2 alligator clips, clip it onto that tab, and clip it to the positive side of your battery so you engage the cold start advance. And if it starts then, that's another indication of, hey, it's an injection pump problem. Some people, if you're trying to avoid the expense of replacing the injection pump, you might try to advance it. Now, in this case, this is a Ford, so you're going to advance it in direction of rotation, which would be towards the passenger side of the vehicle. And you don't want to advance it more than about a degree or 2 because you're not very far off. And you can, and that's about the width of a dime, maybe a nickel. And you can advance it and see if that takes care of it. If that doesn't take care of it, you're going to be looking
Chances are you're looking for a new injection pump.
Exactly.
Or at the very least to have yours rebuilt.
Exactly.
So thank you for the comment, Mr. TV. We hope some of these tests can help you further diagnose your diesel problems. Moving on, we have a comment coming in from Hill Customs. Sounds like a shop account there. He says, I just bought a 2002 GMC 3500 HD, 200,000 miles. Everything looks original. P1216 code. Did also have a low boost code, but it was a broken vacuum pump line to the wastegate fixed. That runs okay, but not great. Sounds like an injector knocking, and it's chugging a grayish smoke from it. Where do I start with diagnosis? I am a gasoline tech / shop owner. No knowledge on diagnosing diesels. So he is a shop owner. So any thoughts and advice for Mr. Customs?
Well, he very well, with 200,000 miles, if everything is original, the injectors are automatically suspect because you've really gone past the service life of those injectors.
Typically 150,000 miles is where you want to take a look at it.
Right. The first thing that I would do is I would start, with the cheapest and simplest thing, which would be to pull the injectors. They don't necessarily have to be rebuilt. They may just need to have their popping pressures reset. A 30-second lesson here, how injectors affect timing. If you have an injector that's supposed to pop at, let's just say 2,000 PSI, and because of wear, they're now popping at 1,700. Maybe you've got 2 or 3 of them in there. Well, those 3 cylinders are firing prematurely, okay, because as this piston is coming up, it expects to get fired right here, but it's firing right here. And that is altering that timing on those cylinders.
That's what creates the knock in the engine.
That's what creates the knock and the smoke and those type things. So I would start with that based on the 200,000 miles. Chances are, and this is a good rule of thumb on an 8-cylinder motor, if you have more than 3, 4 max that are out of specs, just go ahead and change the whole set.
Yeah, because it's not going to be long till the other ones start to fail as well.
Right. Beyond that, it really, you just kind of start with, your basic maintenance stuff. But anytime you have a knock and a smoke, the injectors are always going to be suspect. And that's where I would start. Typical shop like ours, generally they charge $10, $15 a piece to check the injectors. So worst case scenario, you're probably going to be out $100 to have them check and reset. I don't know how other shops do it. For us, if we're checking injectors and we get to maybe 3 or 4, we stop. We don't charge the customer at that point. But there's no sense in checking all 8 when we've already found, enough bad ones. And so that's where I would start in that, and then kind of work up from that. That's the cheapest fix and most likely the culprit, and then it just gets kind of more expensive after that. But that's where I would start.
All right, so we appreciate the comment. Hill Customs, thank you very much. Helge Soride is the next one. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
There is no way you got that right.
There are characters in that name I don't fully recognize, so I'll take the heat on that one. In any case, they write, "Hi, thank you for your informative videos. My 1988 GM 62 got plenty of white smoke after startup, cold, and dark smoke during hard acceleration or going up steep hills. Also kind of lazy and thirsty, even for a 6.2 diesel. This is after replacement of both IP and nozzles. IP and nozzles are replaced by refurbished ones. Could this be due to wrong timing?" Here's a link to what the timing looks like out of my Snap-on. I'm not going to click the link, but he says, please comment. So do we need that link, or can you surmise what he's talking about from the comment? And there's that other call.
Yeah. Busy, folks. This diesel business is just crazy.
It's a booming. But yeah, so Helge, they write, dark smoke and white smoke after startup. So what there we go. Now we don't have to worry about it.
I was wondering what these buttons are for, and now I realize I can turn the phone off. So
that's probably on me. I should have mentioned that at the top.
It is on you. Okay, so Helge, you've got an 88 6.2. You don't list the mileage here, but I'm going to assume for a moment that if you're changing pump and injectors, you're at the service life of those. So typically, for every 100,000 miles that is on an engine, you want to advance it about a degree. Now, for those of you who love to negative comment, tear into me, because you line up 10 different mechanics, you'll get 10 different answers to this. I'm just telling you what works for me. Okay, so
yep, there's your disclaimer, folks.
Yes. But typically, in my service operation, when I was running it, I would typically want to advance the pump. In this case, I'm assuming that you've probably got over 200,000 miles because of the parts you're replacing. So you want to advance that about anywhere from 1 to 3 degrees. And again, going back to the previous comment, that's about the width of a nickel, maybe a dime. But this is a 6.2. So it's direction of rotation, so it's going the opposite direction. So to advance it, you're going to move
as
it
opposed
towards
to the forward.
Exactly.
This one's going to the driver's side.
This one's going to the driver's side. You want to try to advance that, and typically that will take care of it. You want to find really the sweet spot. One thing I run into all the time talking to folks is they'll say, my truck starts the second I just touch the key, but it kind of drags, on the high end of the torque curve.
Right.
That's because you have set it, you've retarded the timing to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. And you don't want a vehicle that starts when you touch the key. You want it to start normally, cold. It takes a few revolutions. But when you're setting your timing perspective there, because you want it really to come in under full load conditions. That's where you really want your power.
Right.
So, you want to find that sweet spot, and that's what we call performance timing it. And there's so many variables: where you live, what's the altitude, is it a daily driver, what are you using the vehicle for? And so that's where that timing is. It's a very personalized thing for you as a driver, and you in the area that you live. But that's what I would start with them, and kind of move out from there.
Okay, so we appreciate the comment, Helga. We hope that our response can give you some pointers and move you in the right direction. I hear you getting calls. I feel like we have more comments that we need to get into, but I think we should take a break right here just so you can see what all the fuss is about from them. So we're going to pause the video right here. We will be following up to more YouTube comments, and you will see that video in the future. So for now, I've been Zach Williams.
I've been Billy Williams.
And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Yes, I'm built out and bound to go. I'm going to leave here running, because walking is most too slow.
All right, back to 1.